All right, what's going on, everybody? This is your free webinar here as we head into a new session of the Lucci Master Course. And what we're going to talk about today is how does flow trading relate to the tape? And what we mean by flow trading is by looking at this order flow, right? And there's so many different types of order flow out there. There's equities order flow, there's options order flow, there's futures orders flow, there's all kinds of stuff. But the most popular form, and the one that we use in the St. Lucci sort of Wall Street Jesus world, is the options order flow. And what we screen for is we screen for aggressive buying and selling, whether on the offer or on the bid. Remember, these could be for open writing options positions, long calls or long puts. So we screen for that type of activity in our chat room here. And we post out these alerts, when any sort of big trade has been made across a number of different equity names. And as you can see here, basically this is an example of what that flow looks like. So for example, here we have a SPY buyer for puts, 252 strike price, and for the amount of about $1 million, okay? And we flag this type of order because the way that it is processed, all right, has to do with supply and demand. It has to do with how aggressive you are with wanting to get that order filled. And when we see that, we can sort of track the footsteps of some larger players out there. And if you notice, there was a lot of SPY activity today. We're also getting some buying here. We're also seeing some long calls, 259 strike, all the way out to November. And you can see there's a couple orders here. So that's well over $1 million as well. Okay, so that means we basically have people on both sides of the trade. If you take a look at this SMH is a big semiconductor index. And they're sweeping 97 puts here for next year. And if you take a look at SMH, you guys have all traded NVIDIA in and out, I'm sure, throughout the last couple of years. If you take a look at SMH for the last couple of years, this thing is on a serious run, right? You can see the same thing with NVIDIA. You see the same thing with Micron and all of these names in particular. This NVIDIA is absolutely disgusting for the last 2 years. So now you can clearly see some protection, some protection coming in because, granted, you can't be long these things forever. At some point, the sort of rug is going to be pulled. So again, for this webinar here, we're going to talk about how does this flow relate to tape reading, okay? And we'll talk about tape reading a little bit. And again, inside the course is a much more in-depth sort of workshop on how to read tape, okay? And what is tape? Tape is basically your level 2 and time and sales. So we can take a look at a sample level 2 right here of Apple and a sample time and sales here. And we can see basically the transactions that go off, the timestamp that they go off, how much size was printed, and on what exchange they were printed, okay? This right here is tape, more or less, okay? All we're doing is looking for buyers and sellers. And now that you kind of understand the sort of basic concept here of bid and ask and the tape, now you can kind of put together why the flow is so important. If you have, let's say, $1 million buyer come into a name like, a Bank of America, or a name like, United States Steel, like X, financials here, JP Morgan, for example, Goldman Sachs, any of these names here that have a decent sized bet that comes in, well, guess what? It influences the market. It influences supply and demand. If the rest of the world out there knows, somebody just threw down a $2.5 million bet on Teva, and remember, Teva is a biotech company that is absolutely dog shit. I don't know if any of you guys are trading this Teva, but look at Teva here for the last 2 years, right? So this guy right here is saying to himself, all right, you know what? it's time here for, you know, the move to change. Okay, so this guy's putting his money where his mouth is. Obviously, he's buying some good amount of time. He's got a close expiration. And then we can see also the detail for that transaction. If we look over here, we can see all of it, 15 calls, the 2018 January strike, which is, again, only 3 months away or so, and he's only paying $1 and change for it. But he's putting a $2.5 freaking million down on that particular trade. We want to know about it. We want to know about it because if Tiva ends up, you know, sometimes there's always these good bounces on dog names. You guys remember X when the thing was trading, what, $6? $6 or something right back. Look at this shit, right? $6 all the way up to $40. During this whole move, there were huge call buyers that came in and were buying dips on everything on this X, 25 calls, 30 calls, 35 calls. This whole move here to the upside was all flow, okay? You can see the option bets that come in before the move actually happened. And remember, this is smart money too, okay? So they tend to make smarter decisions, all right? They also make decisions that are a little bit different than you and I might make, okay? You guys, for example, or even myself, we make decisions based on what? Our capital in our account, how much time do we have? We have to make a lot more difficult decisions when trading options, especially when it comes to timing. Now, these guys can throw down $2 million. They don't give a shit what price they got filled at, okay? They don't care, all right? But they just want that risk. They want that added risk here that you're going to get with an options play. So chances are they got stock positions as well, but they come into the options play, they come into the option space and start adding some weeklies here, okay, and start adding some, you know, some extra sort of juice on top. And if you notice here, Bank of America, we're seeing calls all the way up to 32 here for next year. We're seeing 30 calls. Bank of America has gotten so much action the past couple of days. And these are weeklies, too. A lot of them were weeklies. Check out yesterday into the close. You got December's all on the 29th. And this was when the stock was trading 26 and change. And then look at the gap up. Okay, the gap up today was absurd. Absolutely absurd. We had a nice 50-cent gap up overnight. Okay? And this is at all-time or at recent highs here, and most likely going to shoot towards $30 here towards the end of the year. As you guys all know, a lot of action in the banks as well. Okay, so that's basically how it translates. Okay, to supply and demand. If we know there's a lot of folks out there, if we know there's a lot of smart money out there betting on these things going higher, betting on these things going lower, we have, all of a sudden, we have a trade idea, okay? Now, the thing with flow is that most people who just kind of take a look at it at face value, they think, okay, we just got to buy all of this stuff, right? I mean, we just got to, you know, some bigger money is in here, so that means, yeah, sure, let's go ahead and throw some cash at it, all right? Kind of more complicated than that, okay? And this is where the actual art of trading comes in. This is where the actual art of tape reading comes in. And this is one of the things that we really focus on during the sort of master course here. Flow trading as well as tape reading, okay? All of this is centered around timing, all right? Because anybody who trades options, you guys know the most important thing about your trade is the timing. This is where the tape comes into play. Okay, and I'm going to bring in a couple examples. We're going to talk about Snapchat today, and we're going to talk about Amazon. Okay, and we did kind of allude to Amazon in the past webinar, but we kind of want to beat that one down because that one is one of the most aggressive trades that I've seen thus far. Okay, and it has most likely influenced other players around. You know, once that sort of flow hits the actual tape. So let's go ahead and do one example. You guys can throw out some examples that that maybe you want to take a look at, and then we'll give you a brief synopsis here of the course, and then all the particulars here. Remember, the course starts next Wednesday. Next Tuesday, and the link is right here, sayinglucci.com/MC. And you can also get a coupon for a 2-month payment, and that will be at sayinglucci/MC2, okay? Or you can also use the link that I'm sending you guys right now. Okay, we have a couple spots left too. So remember, the session begins on Tuesday. You're getting a 33% discount. Okay, so basically you're getting the course here for $19.99 instead of $3,000. Okay, so take advantage of that discount. Remember, we only got a couple spots left, but let's take a look at the big mamma jamma, Amazon. Okay, so Amazon, we had a $9 million buyer come into the market and buy November calls, okay, for a close to the money strike price. All right, and let's take a look at the chart of that option. Okay, and what we're going to do is basically break down how this flow piece connected with the tape to give you some ideas on how to trade it. Okay, and this is one of the biggest things and the biggest takeaways from the course, as well as what we preach, is, you know, how do you use some of this flow to your advantage? All right, so let's see, let's hold on, and let's see, we got the chart down here. Okay, so this is a chart of the price action in the 960 call, and here's your buyer right here. Okay, so this guy buys 3,300 contract, whatever the hell he bought, okay, at around $36 per contract. Okay, so this was a $9 million order. All right, and I haven't seen shit like this. I've never seen somebody come in here and buy this much of Amazon. Okay, I mean, I've seen a good amount of money get thrown around in this thing, but not like that, especially not on a sweep order. Okay, and what does a sweep order mean? All right, a sweep order means, guess what? Let's just take a random option like this. Okay, so if we have, this is an Alibaba 180 call, right? This thing expired worthless today. A sweep order would say, okay, give me every damn thing on the book and just sweep the whole offer, whatever the offer is, and then how high, you know, however high that price is. That's what you're going to go ahead and sweep. So if you sent a 1 cent order for, let's say, 2,000 contracts, you know, the only way that you're going to be able to get filled here, you know, is by sweeping the book. Now, how many of you guys have sent a market order and the whole market has changed or moved before your market order gets filled? Okay? And go ahead and let me know if you don't understand that question. Okay? But how many of you guys have sent a market order, okay, for an option, and by the time you're, you know, maybe some of it got filled, but by that time some of it got filled, the rest of the offers moved back, okay? Or they moved ahead, basically. So let's say you try to send market order here, you know, maybe you'd get some fills at 38, but then you'd get some fills at 42 or 43 or 43 or even 50 cents. How many of you guys have had that happen to you? Okay? This is a market structure issue that designates certain order types that you guys might not have access to. Okay, so what happens if I go ahead and send a 100 contract market order in a market like this? You know what's going to happen? It's going to go to a particular exchange first. Okay, so I can direct it to a particular exchange. Maybe I want to get filled on SIBO or whatever the hell it is, right? But by the time I get filled on SIBO, the other market makers are going to see that order and they're going to be like, whoa, 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 whoa. You know, we ain't filling you at 38. We're going to fill you at 40. We're going to fill you at 41. Okay? This is how the computers are able to scalp and scalp and scalp pennies and stay alive, right? Now, there's an order called an intermarket sweep order, which most people don't have access to. These guys who want to put down some serious cash, though, they got access to it. Okay, so what this means is that you can sweep the whole book before other market makers know what you're doing. All right, so it's a better market order. That's basically what it is. It is a much better market order that allows you to sweep the whole book instead of having to go to one particular exchange. You guys are all using your retail discount brokers, which means that they're selling your order flow to whatever exchange gives them the best value. Okay, remember, these are all for-profit exchanges. So, you know, let's say Fidelity routes over to BATS. BATS is going to give them a high price for that order flow, so they'll go ahead and route to BATS all the time. Okay, but subsequently what does this do? Anytime you guys send market orders out there, the rest of the exchanges will know immediately, and they're able to pull that order flow back. They're able to adjust that offer back before they actually have to fill you. All right, and this is why you guys get shit fills when you send your freaking market orders. All right, so long story short here, this guy sweeps for $9 million. All right, and you can see him right here. you know, paying up, and it looks like he swept the book from 35 up to, who knows, probably 38. So that's why he got an average price of 36 and change, whatever. Okay? So this guy's in for $9 million. Now let's take a look at what the stock was doing at that time. Okay, so let's take a look at 1003. 1003 here. Let's go back to 1 month here. Okay, so 1003. This is where we are. All right. So that order comes in probably down at the lows. I'm not sure exactly what time. Let's see. We can probably check it out. It's 11 o'clock. Okay. So 11 o'clock on 1003. This is when this guy comes in and starts buying. Okay, and you can see there's a little bit of a push up, but nothing crazy. All right, so always when you see an order like that, now your job is to come to the tape. Now your job is to come to the tape, take a look at your level 2 time and sales, and be like, okay, what's happening to the stock now as a result of this guy buying $9 million freaking dollars worth of calls? Okay, and usually, guys, you're going to be able to get a cheaper price on that option. Whatever that smart money buyer bought for, chances are, I usually say 90% of the time, you're able to get a cheaper price than that, okay? But now your idea is, okay, we got to watch the order flow now, right? So this is your idea. It's like, okay, Amazon here, we got a month or 2 months here for this thing to go higher. We're going to wait here for some levels to break for this stock to look good, and then we're going to go ahead and try to play it, okay? Now, maybe you guys want to play weeklies. Maybe you guys want to play monthlies alongside with this dude, okay? There's so many different ways to play a particular piece of order flow, whether it's for a day trade, whether it's for a multi-day trade, whether it's for a swing trade. I mean, guys, do you think this guy's sold yet? I mean, these are guys who also can hedge too. So this guy might have also bought stock, done a lot of other things to hedge down this position. So we might not necessarily see these contracts get sold, okay? But they're still open, all right? So if we're just looking at it and he just made a raw options trade, this guy hasn't sold yet, okay? But now look at where the option is. The option here is all the way back down to 43 bucks, pretty close to where this guy bought it, okay? So you only have a small window of time, all right, to take advantage of these opportunities here. And they require you to not just blindly buy whatever the hell you see, because oftentimes, these guys are wrong too. These guys will put risk out there, and they're wrong too, especially if these guys are playing earnings or whatnot. Remember, they got $500,000 to throw out there, and they don't really give a shit about, okay? You guys can't afford to take that risk. So I see way too many guys, okay? Guys, customers come into us and be like, okay, we have a $25,000 account. This guy's playing $9 million. I'm going all in on freaking Amazon, all right? That is dumb shit. That is dumb shit, but I see it all the time, all right? But again, this is where you need the added benefit, the added confidence of understanding how markets move. Okay, so basically what you're doing here is you're now looking for those recent highs, which was around 960 and change, and you're waiting for that stock to start looking good over that area, that stock to start finding buyers over that area. Okay, and remember, you're going to do all of this through the time and sales and the level 2. And if you notice here, you got a nice gap here to 970, and they kind of gapped through a price that everybody wanted, and they never looked back. Okay, so this immediately, once you get that gap up, you're buying that gap up. Okay, and if it's for a day trade, if it's for a swing trade, either or here, that's on you. I think this guy probably is going to wait until earnings, and I think these guys want a lot more. There's also a lot of spread buyers that we're seeing in Amazon as well. So there's flow here that that hasn't been posted, that we'll see smaller flow come into some of the names as well. There's somebody buying 1,040 calls here on Amazon as well. So I think this guy is waiting until earnings, and earnings is 2 weeks from now. Okay, so it's like, what are you going to do with this thing? This guy was up almost double. All right, what are you going to not take this? You're going to not sell some of this stuff? Okay, so again, these are decisions that you're going to need to understand how to make just by looking at the tape and understanding how the flow affects the demand or the supply of the stocks that you are watching. Okay, so obviously this $9 million piece of order flow that came into this thing really did influence this thing to the upside. A lot of buyers came into this thing, as well as a lot of the other high flyer names. If you take a look at the Google as well, has been performing well from that sort of moment too. So if you take a look at 10:03, this was the same day that they were buying the Amazon calls, you know? So this is another trade idea. It's like, okay, we're going to be bullish Amazon here. There's probably going to be some flow and good demand going into some of the other high flyer names. Priceline, another one. You know, Netflix, another one, and then all kinds of these other names. Okay, so that's kind of how you want to put these things together. You want to wait though, all right? You don't want to immediately jump in, or test the waters a little bit. Test the waters a little bit and wait for that price to come back on you, and then start understanding how to read, you know, your time and sales in level 2, and watch that sort of demand pick up in that stock, and that way, you know, you can get much more confident on your options trade. And start getting more aggressive with your trades. Okay, let's take a look at one more trade. Does anybody have any questions on that Amazon? Let's take a look at one more trade, and that will be the Snapchat. Okay, Snapchat was a much different situation. It was a much slower move. Okay, and I'm actually going to throw in one more. I'm going to throw in the Goldman Sachs there too, just to show. You know, just because you see some flow out there, and just because you see some folks buying out there, does not always mean, okay, immediately, you know, we're going to start jumping in this damn thing. Okay, so let's take a look at the Snapchat alongside. Let's see. Hold on. Okay. Okay. So Snapchat back in. Let's look at the beginning of. I think it was beginning of sort of October here that kind of popped off, and then after it, we just kind of died out completely. So this move right here, that came off the heels of some failures. Okay, and this is what will happen a lot to a lot of traders. Okay, so let's go back to September. Okay, so you know the flow will give you the idea, but that's not enough. Okay, that's not enough. It's all about the execution. So check this out, right? This is where most of the flow started to come in. All right, and for Snapchat, the beginning of just like we said, beginning of September. Okay, so we started to see a lot of 15 calls go off. But what is the one thing that we noticed? Look at the short-dated expirations. They were all for September. They were all for, you know, October. They were all for shorter expirations. Nobody was really buying 20 calls and swinging them out to freaking next year. Okay? So, you know, yes, we got some really, really aggressive sweeps on this thing. And notice that's 9/11. So let's take a look at 9/11. That's probably, you know, one of these days right here. Exactly. Okay? So even up here, okay, we're getting a lot of flow coming into these September strikes going for a higher move. Now, what happens? What happened to all these guys? Right? What happened to all these guys? Number one, they paid up way too much for that option, especially these guys right here, 17 calls, 16 and a half that were out of the money. Okay? They paid up way too much because they thought, like, okay, you know, this looks like it's a move that's about to happen. You know, we haven't traded up towards 16 or 17 in a friggin' while, so we're going to start piling in right here. And then what happens, okay? As soon as you continue to test upwards and continue to pay that high sort of options premium for it, and it's not justified, everybody starts looking for the exit, okay? And you're going to see the same thing right here too, okay? So let's take a look at the Snapchat here for 10/11. All right, and then we go to 10/11 and we see all the flow here again. Okay, and notice these are weeklies. Okay, these are weekly calls, and then you're seeing some for November, and then the next day, you know, you started seeing some 17s. These 19 calls here for November, but notice small size, right? Small size. This was the biggest one out there. You got a 17 call for December. Okay, and this is when the stock was trading about 16 bucks. So let's take a look at that option. Okay, and I want to show you guys basically what happens, you know, when you get too attached to these moves and you don't listen to the tape in front of you that is telling you, hey man, you know, this move is kind of over. So this guy pays, what did he pay off the open? This guy paid $1.20. Okay, this guy paid $1.20 for this option. He's down 50%. It's not that bad, right? It ain't that bad. Okay. but he's still getting smoked here. He's still getting smoked here. Put a $500,000 down, and he's down 50%. He's down $250,000, right? Can you afford to be down 50% and hold out that long for this move to happen? Granted, he's got a bunch of time. Okay, but what is the price action telling you? The price action is telling you exactly the same thing it was telling you before. Exactly the same thing right here, right? You got a nice push. It looks good, but it just can't break to the upside. And then eventually, people just give up. Okay, people just give up, and that premium just disappears, and then you start to see the sellers come back into it. We see some buying coming back in where they were before, but this move, you know, Snapchat has yet to really show us sustainable buyers. Okay, buyers that continue to come back. Okay, and also sustainable flow. After those 2 days, where has the flow been? Right? Nobody's really buying 17 freaking calls. Nobody's buying 19 calls. Nobody's buying 20 calls. Nobody's out there even buying weeklies. We just see the flow completely stop. Okay? So oftentimes the options here and the order flow will definitely cue you in to how long, you know, this move could last. Okay? And what people are really confident in. Okay? Whereas a name like fucking Bank of America, which gets flow every single day, you're getting huge call option activity in friggin' Bank of America. We could go all the way back to 24s, and every single day we are seeing aggressive call buying in Bank of America. They buy time. They want to own this freaking thing. They come back. They're buying. Look at this. January's here. Back in September, these guys are buying 30s. You know, just little bit, adding. This lets you know, you have much more time on your side. And this is the type of flow that is really supportive of a swing trade versus something like a Snapchat, which is a 2-day mover, and then it loses all of that premium that it cakes up. Okay? Everybody understand that? Any questions there? Let's do one more example here before we go. You guys can throw out some names here if you want. I may or may not take them. Remember, again, we are offering a huge discount basically on the master course, and this is going to start next Tuesday, and we are going to talk about all the things that you see here. You're also going to get included my particularly options writing strategy, and this is one that I do every single week basically just to collect some income on far out of the money options. So that's a much more consistent strategy than trying to time some of these moves out here, which gets difficult for a lot of you guys. But in order to time things properly, what do you need? You need the tape. Okay, I'm telling you guys right now, you need the tape. Your indicators don't mean shit in comparison to what a good knowledge and understanding of bid and ask, supply and demand can do for you. Okay, and combining that with idea generation from the flow, these two, you become invincible here. Okay, as far as the type of option strategies you can play with, you catch a move like a bank, for example. You can catch writing opportunities for days with these things as well, but you need to understand how to put all this stuff together, and this is why you need me, okay? I think we have a couple spots left here for the course. We also have a section here for trading psychology too. And then, by the way, if you guys also want to check out a testimonial here, we have a trader interview that we just kind of popped up. We interviewed a couple of folks here from the last class, and these guys are folks that are looking to sort of revitalize their trading. We had a guy, he called himself Ranchero. He's in our chat room here, every single day trading a lot of the same names that I'm trading. This guy's been up and down millions of dollars as well. Just looking for a breather, just looking for a sort of new way to look at the markets and sort of revitalize those trading skills as well, and kind of come back into the game with a sort of fresh perspective. So make sure you guys read that. We have a lot of other interviews there for you from folks who have taken it from us in the past year, and it has done wonders there for their trading. Again, we have a coupon here for a 2-month payment if you don't want to make the $2,000 purchase right up front. Okay, let's do one more example. Silas here is actually asking for the Baba. Let's do one more example. Actually, just one thing I want to burn home here. I crushed this Goldman, right? But here's the problem, okay? banks for a long time were doing nothing. I mean, even Bank of America was for a long time just doing absolutely nothing. Okay, and people, they want to trade shit like this. They want to trade during times like this. Me personally, I hate trading consolidation. I don't know about you guys. Like, I suck at trading consolidation. So all I'm doing during periods like this is just testing around. I'm just plugging around to see if these moves are real, until I find a place where the flow is enough, it lines up with the market, and everything looks good. Okay, you know, that's kind of where I'm after here. All right, I'm after those moves. I'm after those big moves in a name like a Goldman Sachs, where I can catch 5 to 10 points. So I was able to catch this move from 230 to about 238, 239. I sold a little bit earlier. This thing ended up going to 246. But this thing is clearly still bullish and most likely going to all-time highs here by the end of the year. So that's your sort of free trade idea for the day. The question is, though, how do you execute, right? How do you execute? How do you execute? What option do you select? How much time should you give yourself? Where do you find the best price for that option? This is what the tape is all about, okay? It's not enough that you guys just have a freaking idea. I mean, shit, you can go on Twitter and get fucking ideas all day, all right? You don't need me for freaking ideas, all right? I can give you 90 ideas right now. It ain't going to do you any good, okay? The question is how do you time these moves? What options are you picking? And then what prices are you coming in at? And then where are you offloading that risk to? Are you adding on dips? Are you selling on the strength? You know, there's so many factors that come into making a good trade from start to finish that I feel are influenced well by a good understanding of supply and demand and how the tape really works, okay? So I spent months on Goldman trying to figure this place out, okay? I literally spent 6 months on Goldman trying to figure out where this shit was happening, okay? And I took this move for a huge amount. This was actually one of my biggest trades for the year, you know? So most of the time, I'm just sitting around waiting and watching, and I'm just sitting around waiting until the flow is supportive, until the market is supportive of that type of move, until there's rotation from some of the larger players into the financials or into the sector that I'm watching. You know, so all these are concepts that we will talk to, we will talk about in detail during the course. Okay, so that's one other name here. Silas wants to take a look at the Baba. Baba, there's a lot of dip buying. There's a lot of dip buying here. Obviously, the Baidu is a very strong stock. As long as this market goes higher, you know, these dips on Baba are pretty good. Okay, these dips on Baba are pretty good. We're also seeing a lot of the flow come into Baba and the Baidu, but they've already run up a good amount. Yesterday, you can see 180s here for November. Like, this guy came in and bought the dip 177. So this guy's in for 900 grand, you know, for November calls. But remember, earnings are coming up too. Okay, earnings are coming up too. So this makes it even trickier. Okay, this makes it even trickier. Okay, to trade this particular name. All right. Because you got a name that's already bought up aggressively, okay? You got a fade here from all-time highs. The question is, does it go back to those all-time highs? Should we just wait for the earnings? You know, there's a lot of things to consider, but these names are pretty bullish. As long as the market remains bullish, you know, these are good dip buys. I mean, Baidu gave a freaking 260 dip buy yesterday and then traded up to almost 270 today. So this thing is absolutely crazy. You know, and there's still bets that are being thrown down here on the China internet names going forward. So I would wait until a lot of the big earnings come out. You know, we're still waiting for the Googles, the Amazons, the Apples, and all that kind of stuff. You know, but that's basically how we're using it. So we go ahead and take this flow component. We say, okay, somebody's going ahead to buy the dip down here at 180s. November calls here. Okay, they're giving themselves a good amount of time, and then we start taking a look at the tape. We start taking a look at the tape. We say to ourselves, okay, clearly there's some selling here at 180, so the stock is not buyers are not that confident going over 180 yet, and then they kind of give up pretty quickly. We got a range here from 176 to 180, so let's wait. Let's wait until that action is supportive for us to buy this thing and go for a move to 185. Let's wait until the rotation comes back to some of the China names. You know, right now it's in financials and shit like that. I mean, look at this Bank of America. I think is at all-time highs again just overnight. Chances are this thing is going to gap up again tomorrow. There's so many buyers continuing to come back in these names. This is where we want to focus our attention. Baidu and Baba, the easy money was fucking done. That shit is done, you know? So now it's going to be difficult, right? Now you're going to get some consolidation and all this nonsense. You guys saw NVIDIA? Like NVIDIA, it hasn't been the easiest freaking trade up here, okay, after topping out. So for the last several days, you know, this thing hasn't been the easiest freaking trade, okay? So we're getting, you'll see a lot of flow going to different sectors. You need to pay attention to that. And the flow also can help you find that sort of sector rotation too, okay? Any questions? Any questions? Roger's saying bouncing back from a $1.4 million loss. Bro, I've lost, you know what happened? I think I had a swing in 2014 where I lost $1 million 1 month, and then the next month I made it back. You know, and then the next month I was down $500,000. Like, my swings are pretty crazy. They were much more crazier back in the day. And when I say back in the day, I mean a couple freaking years ago. So I've moved now to more options writing. So my P&L is a lot more consistent now, but it's not as wild, you know. I'm not making a freaking $1 million in a month anymore. But, you know, I think once the market starts to do what I want it to do, aka drop and tank like fucking crazy, I think once that happens, you know, I'll start putting up that P&L again. Sure, you know. So again, all that stuff is relative, though. So, you know, you guys see these big numbers of you know, folks losing or making, you know, 1.4 million bucks or whatever the hell it is. You know, it's all relative. It really is all relative. It all depends on your stomach tolerance, you know, and what you're sort of ready for. Any questions? Any questions? Again, guys, we only have a couple spots left. Go ahead and take advantage here. Use that link here that we threw out there. These courses start next Tuesday. Okay, and they run for about 12 sessions. You also get live tape reading for 4 sessions as well. So you're going to just see me basically just trading stock in and out, options in and out, and you're literally just going to see me watching time and sales with you guys to show you what is it that I'm looking for in the tape to give me a sign that I want to buy or sell something. Roger's saying, did you have time to answer the question? I don't know. I don't know what he made back. I have no idea what he made back, Raj. Read the freaking article, bro. Spend some time. Read the article. If you want to talk to him too, join in the free trial, and then you can go ahead and shoot the shit with him. I don't know. Any other questions? Okay, and again, 4 live trading sessions, and then you're also going to get a bonus couple of interviews with one of my friends, Brian Weiner, basically, and he is an expert on hedging. So some of you guys might want to do some options hedging, or some of you guys might have stock positions that you want to use some options to hedge with as well. So you get some bonus content too, and of course you'll get access to the Steam Room, which is, you know, I still believe as some really good value. You also get the Wise Guys Revealed course thrown in there as well. This course is taught by Wall Street Jesus, and it basically just gives numerous examples of how to trade the flow basically in and out. So you guys are getting some pretty damn good value here at a nice discount. I would suggest you guys take advantage. I apologize for saying your name wrong. I'm going to say Vel here is saying, which one of your YouTube videos would you recommend for preparation for a course? I mean, honestly, man, I don't even know my catalog here anymore, bro. Like, I got so much shit on here, I have no idea what is really back here. There are some good videos on, you know what? I would do this one. I would totally do this one. I would spend more time. I would spend more time, Val, on the psychology of stuff. So if you want to do a sort of preparation for it. And in reality, like, I'd rather have guys that don't have a bias to a strategy that's already out there. Well, because those guys are going to be much easier to teach. You know, if you guys are stuck on, you know, some freaking technical analysis indicator that you think is freaking godsend, you know, that's going to be difficult here for you. Raj here, I'll go ahead and send to you. I think you already have it, but I'll send it to you. So there's your testimonial. Again, like, there's so many other testimonials that you will see on the landing page too. Check those out. If you guys want to talk to some of the traders that have taken the course too, let us know. My guy Charlie here is there to answer all your questions as well. Okay, so yeah, as far as the YouTube videos, I mean, remember you're getting some great free content here too. Wall Street Jesus is on here every single Saturday, just talking about names that have happened in that past week, great trades that didn't work, and then you'll see a lot of gems here, from myself as far as options trading education. And even high frequency trading stuff that we'll do as well. So there's a lot. There's hours of content here for free on YouTube. So it's a great resource here for you guys as well. All right, guys. If there's no other questions, let me know. I'll leave it open for a second. Good luck out there. Hopefully we see you guys on Tuesday when we start the course. All right, take care, guys.